these aren't the only allegations against ActBlue out there. I mean, Elon Musk is accusing the Democrat platform of funding groups responsible for the so-called demonstrations against Tesla. ActBlue denies any wrongdoing, by the way. Musk does point out that ActBlue is currently under investigation for allowing foreign and illegal donations in criminal violation of campaign finance laws. Tom, what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, what's really interesting about ActBlue is recently, just in the last week, it's been announced essentially their core leadership has fled. So a lot of their key people are gone, which suggests there was something going on that caused them to flee. And you have to wonder whether these questions about taking money knowingly from sources that they knew or had reason to know were not valid, like from abroad for political campaigns, whether that's the issue that we're concerned about, or as Elon Musk is highlighting, that it's one thing to be funding public policy debates through charitable donations and political operations. It's another thing to be funding terrorism and political violence against your opponents. And what I think is going on against Tesla and Elon Musk is terrorist activity. And it's dangerous, it's violent, and it's also directed at a federal official. The left, as the left reminds us, he works for Trump. He works in the White House. And when you engage in violence targeting a federal official to stop him from doing his work, there are other serious crimes, both criminal and civil, that arise from that. And so anyone involved in that seems to be, should be subject to investigations. What's going on against Tesla? The FBI needs to be all over it, assuming they're capable of doing anything other than investigating parents and people going to church.
Yeah, indeed. Reid Hoffman, who also has denied any wrongdoing here, was asked about this fundraising during an interview on the, what is it, All In podcast. Here's what he had to say.
Have you spent any money to try to impact RFK one way or the other?
I wouldn't be surprised if we look at all the money that goes to all the different organizations, if Organization X kind of had some kind of ballot thing. My voice and instruction was always like, no, don't do that. That's anti-democratic. But, you can't control everything, just like you invest in a company, and CEOs sometimes the dumbass shit that you can't do anything about.
Yeah, I can't control all that money. You buying that, Tom?
No, they know exactly what's going on here. It's not like they have to have someone coordinating it. They all share the same values. And thinking back to the coup against Biden by Harris and Obama and Pelosi, remember those billions of dollars that all of a sudden magically appeared shortly after she took over the nomination? I think that's curious and interesting. And in light of ActBlue's prominent role in fundraising for the left, and not only organizationally, but politically in terms of campaigns, the amount of money that they raised and the serious questions about whether the proper controls were in place needs to be the subject, as I said, of a serious criminal investigation. And I tell you, if you're involved in supporting terrorists abroad by also engaging in terrorism here, as we're seeing up in Colombia with that student being arrested by the Trump administration for supporting terrorism, they wanted to deport him. Who was helping him run those so-called protests? There's got to be a line.
Yeah,
it's one thing to have First Amendment speech.
Fair question.
But if you're working in league with terrorist organizations through transnational left-wing groups, that's a much more significant legal issue.
Folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.